Hey guys, welcome back. I just wanted to show a quick tutorial on something that I've done in the past, I think only one time. But when I used the navel jelly on this chassis, of course it removed all my lettering. And I really want to get that back on here, and I'm going to show you how real quick. Okay, the best method I've found in the past to do this is take advantage of your inkjet printer and just transfer the image, which is really just wet ink. And I'll show you the process here in just a minute. There's a lot of folks that have done this online already. But you can see I wanted to match the fonts first, so I used my digital imaging and came up with a font that was very similar in nature, had the right height and width. And again, I know the positions that I'll need to apply the labels based on my existing or archive photos. So I'll probably end up applying something that looks a little washed out, and something like this. And the reason why, I don't want it to look new. I want it to more mirror what was there before I started doing the rust removal and actually remove the labeling information. So let's take a quick look at the transparency film that I used in the inkjet printer to do the transfer. And so here's a quick look at the material I used. You can pick up any brand, but I think really the secret recipe is, again, you see I'm using a laser printer transparency film. Again, I mentioned I think you can use wax paper as well. Sometimes that wants to get jammed in the old inkjet printer. Of course, you could use some 3M product and take your wax paper and attach it back to some existing copy paper just to stiffen things up, or you could actually tape it on there. The reason I like the transparency film is because I'll actually be able to see exactly where I'm going to be able to place, or do my best to place, the actual image or transfer the image, and reduce any smearing by moving. So we'll try that right live on camera and see what happens. But again, really the key is the laser printer transparency film. The inkjet ink does not dry to that product. So I'll run from the printer back to the radio, and then we'll try to apply this first image. I think I'll start out with the model M33, and we'll just look at it live together and see if we're successful. If not, then I'll remove it, and we'll try again. So I'll go ahead and do a picture-in-picture on this from some still photos that I completed, and I'm going to start here again with this model M33, and it will be running at an angle here, just right through this area. So let me go back to the printer real quick and get this first image printed, run back in here. We'll try to apply it and see what it looks like together. Okay guys, I'm back, and I went inside real quick to the inkjet printer and printed out the model M33 again on the transparency film. This made for a laser printer, and again, the reason for the laser printer is the ink won't dry. Now, one thing I did too, I wanted to kind of rough this area up a little bit to make sure that the ink itself would adhere to this. So I'm not sure if it will. I may have to scuff it up just a little bit more, but we'll give it a try and see. So let me see if we can get this on here now without it, smearing really bad. And I'll try to get it back at the angle that it was, or closely at the angle that it was initially. We'll go back and look at some photos. Again, this is off memory. And once you put it down, the key is just make sure you don't move it, because if you move it, it will smear. And the other had smearing on it as well. So no big deal if it does. I don't want this to look brand new anyway. You can see the elm there's already smeared. That's kind of what it looked like on the other. I couldn't even tell it was an elm. So I'll just leave it here for a moment. You can see the ink kind of bleeding in together. And I think I got this set for bold right now. I might go in there and actually I've got the ink set for vivid. So I think I'm going to reduce the amount of ink being applied to the transparency film. I'm going to wipe this off and start again. So let's try to use less ink, see if I can reduce some of the smearing, and see if we can get a better transfer. Let me just lift this off for giggles, and let's see what ended up here on the radio. So you can see a failed attempt, but heck, you don't know until you give this stuff a try. So let me clean this off. I'm actually going to kind of rough this up just a little bit more, and then I'm going to change my the amount of ink that I use and drastically reduce it more to maybe a fast print mode and take it out of the vivid mode. And let's see if that puts us in a position to be successful here on the transfer. Alright, got the label here. Let's give this one a try. See what happens. And see if I can remove it here. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm not going to try to perfect it any more than that. 3 or 4 tries to get that result, and it doesn't look new for sure. And I think that will serve me well and looks fairly close to the original. We'll do some comparisons here in a bit. So not the easiest thing to do. Again, I had 3 or 4 tries here to get the desired effect, but I think it will work. Now again, I'm not sure this inkjet ink will dry on this stainless steel chassis, so I may have to put some enamel over the top of it just to seal this in. So well, we'll take a look at that in just a bit. I've got some inkjet enamel that I can probably just spot spray in those areas and protect the ink from rubbing off, at least with your fingers. But I'll probably just play around with another area here. So let me go ahead and do the other labeling, and I've got one, I think, right in this area and one here. I got to go back and look at my original photos, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back with you, and I've got the labels on. Again, I used a inkjet transfer method. Applied the fonts here that you see, or the nomenclature, back to a laser printer transparency film, and then applied it here to the chassis. So again, not really sure if this inkjet ink will actually dry to the chassis. I would expect it not to, and I'll probably use some clear coat enamel and just kind of spot over the top of these just to kind of protect the labels from just rubbing off, again, with just mere contact with your hands. So one of the lessons learned, again, when I did the fonts and was experimenting, I had my font too wide, or the girth too wide. As the ink is applied to the chassis, it wants to spread out. So use a smaller font. And I went back and forth between bold and just kept messing around to get the right desired effect. So it looks like it's got some age to it, not new, And I just wanted to share this with you guys, so hopefully it helps others out there in the future should you attempt to do this at home. And if you've done so and you've got some better recommendations, feel free to share that as well. It's what this hobby's all about, is sharing those techniques with others that would simplify things for the next restore. Thanks again for watching.